Continuing with the program at the BC Provincial Karate Championships, we now have the weapons kata. For more, let's go back to Kevin Cady and Mark Stacey.
And we are back, and you're looking at Mike Ditson, and he is using in his kata the bow. And why don't you tell us a little bit about the weapons kata, Mark, and how that works?
Well, the idea of karate developed from ancient martial arts in Okinawa and Japan, and that most of the karate styles developed out of farming areas, and the weapons you'll see used were farm implements, and that the training that became karate originally incorporated all of these types of weapons. So you'll see it's very similar to the karate movements in kata competition, except you incorporate a weapon into the hand movement.
Which just makes it a little bit more difficult.
Oh, it makes it a lot more difficult. Yes.
Okay, a lot more difficult.
Mike Ditson is the competitor we've just seen. Mike's from the West Bank Chitoryu Club.
Well, his low score was 7.9 and his high was 8.2. We'll await his score. We had one competitor 24.4, and that puts him in the lead, as we had one competitor before Mike Ditson, William Chung, who also used the bow and came away with a 24.1.
This next competitor is a friend of mine, Roy Tippenower. Roy is from Campbell River. He's doing a kata with a set of weapons called a tonfa. These were used in Okinawa to harvest wheat, as wheat was grown significantly in Okinawa. And this is a kata using the tonfa.
Tells you something about life in Okinawa back then. I guess if you had to be ready to defend yourself when you were out on the field, not too many police, I guess.
Exactly. Well, truthfully, the Japanese samurai would come to collect their taxes, and that the Okinawan peasants would literally pick up whatever they had in terms of implements and go out and fight the samurai. And that may tell you a little bit about the concept of karate, because the samurai, of course, came in full battle gear with their two swords, and the Okinawans had to fight them with no weaponry, and at a time when metal implements were in fact banned. And so that's perhaps why karate developed to be the deadly art that it is. You couldn't afford to make a mistake.
And Roy Tippenower here seems to have put on a great kata. His motion was very good, very sharp. The tonfa adds something to it as well.
Yeah, Roy's a very big fellow, well over 100 kilos, and that was quite a good performance with weapons.
This should move him up close to the lead. We'll see as we await the total. 24.3, so just off of the lead. And let's take another look at Roy Tippenower with the tonfa.
Nice stance and clear movement.
And the next competitor is going to be a young woman.
She's going to demonstrate the another kata using the bow, which is a 6-foot staff.
This is Ellen Reed. And so, no separate groupings for men and women in this one?
No. The reason, I think, is that the weapon is a challenging device to use in demonstrating the kata. It's, if you like, an equalizer. And so that there's no reason why in weapons performance that the skill level and the demonstration level is going to be much different between men and women. It's very difficult to make this weapon move more powerfully, for example. As you might see, something of a distinction between men and women in kata performance. But that was quite good.
.8 and 7.9s for Ellen Reed, and let's take another look at it. As they total up her score, but she will be out of the running for placing. So far, she sits in fourth after 4 competitors, but a nice look at it there on the replay. Good use of the bow.
When you're looking at a competitor execute a move, you want to see that there's no excess movement, that the more straight up and down they are. This next competitor is Al Reed from West Bank, and he is again demonstrating a kata using the bow.
We saw Al Reed last year in the black belt competition.
Right, in the black belt kumite. Because this weapon, of course, limits you in the range of movements, the stances are somewhat different. In this case, higher, for example, and the technique emphasizes the use of the end of the bow, so that it's, instead of being perhaps 2 feet from your body, the focal point of the technique is more like 4 feet away.
Well, that last look, you have it right there as he finishes his kata. When he was facing the other direction, the camera was off to an angle, but he's actually coming straight on at us, and it looks quite intimidating. So he's going to score well, and let's take another look at Al Reed as he comes straight into your living room using the bow. Good scores from the judges.
Hand movements are quite difficult. Shifting, see that
nice
movement
move
as well, is challenging to do with the kind of focus that Al demonstrated.
He awaits for the total of his scores. 23.9. That moves Al Reed into 4th place. And currently the winner, or the leader, Mike Ditson with a 24.4, followed very closely by Roy Tippenauer, 24.3. And that ends the weapons kata. As we've seen all 5 of the competitors, we missed the first one for you, but you saw the 4. And they will finish. Al Reed will be 4th. William Chung, who you did not see, will be 3rd, followed by Roy Tippenauer with the Tomfa 2nd, and Mike Ditson 1st. They will get ready to present the medals to the competitors. Well, I'm glad that we had a chance to squeeze that in and take a look at it. It was quite interesting.
Right, it's an aspect of karate training that's perhaps not widely understood. Normally you reserve weapons training for people that have managed to train to brown belt level. As you've seen today, it's a little difficult sometimes to execute these moves. If you put a weapon into someone's hands and they're not familiar with it, they end up banging their toes and bonking themselves on the head.
Well, it also inhibits the training of the hand moves and the feet moves independently. It's the old, in similar comparison with hockey, where you teach the child how to skate before you start putting the stick in their hand, or they start to use it as a crutch. And there's our winner. Oh no, sorry, that's
Royce.
3rd place.
In 1st place, gold medalist,
Oh.
black belt.
2nd place for Roy Tippenauer, my mistake.
Mike
And
Ditson.
Mike Ditson is the winner.
Gold medalist.
Gold medalist. Now, we saw the bow and the tomfa. Are those the 2 primary weapons in karate?
It is. There's also a 3rd weapon called a sai, which is a metal implement with 2 prongs and a centerpiece through it. That's also used quite often in weapons competition. We didn't see that today, but I would say primarily people train with the bow. It seems to be the weapon that most clubs and organizations train with.
So right now, as you take a look at Mike Ditson, he is making his way over with Joan McPhail, and she'll do another interview with one of our winners here at BCIT as we carry on with our coverage of the 1997 British Columbia Karate Championships. Some great action we've seen today, and we've had a lot of treats. So right now, though, let's go down and see Joan with Mike Ditson. Joan?
Hi, we're here with the gold medal winner, Mike Ditson. Mike, this is a little bit different than what we've seen so far. Tell us, how did you get started in the weapons kata?
About a few years ago, I just started practicing. Noticed people in the dojo were picking up the bow, using it in class, and we just gradually got slowly started that way, just practicing in class.
And how did the match go for you today?
Pretty good. My kata felt pretty strong, and I think I did pretty good. So I feel pretty good with it.
So after this provincial championships, where do you go with it?
I take it back to the dojo and just keep on practicing. I think I can do better and working on a couple other katas to bring out.
Well, thank you very much for talking to us. Good luck. We're going to be right back after this short break.
If you want the story on the local sports scene, join me, Ian Metcalf, and tune in to the Lower Mainland sports talk show, Locker Room. We'll bring you the athletes and the information on the local sports scene. The BC